Hey everyone, and welcome back to a movie review for one of my most anticipated films of 2015, The Hateful Eight. So The Hateful Eight came out here yesterday in Australia. I know it's like a month after it came out in America, so unfortunately I saw it last night with my brother, and this film was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino, one of my favourite movie makers. He did Django Unchained, Pulp Fiction, and yeah, just classics like those films and the Kill Bill movies and all that. This film was shot on, I think it was actually 65mm and stretched to 70mm. I didn't get to see it in a 70mm cinema. We don't have any here in Adelaide, unfortunately, but just seeing it on the big screen, you could still see that huge widescreen effect, and it looked fantastic. So The Hateful Eight's based on these 8 characters who all come together sometime after the Civil War. There's a big blizzard happening in Wyoming somewhere, and they all meet up in Minnie's haberdashery, which is like this big log cabin, and none of them really know each other, but some of them do know each other by reputation. And this is mainly a dialogue-driven film, but with Tarantino, all of the dialogue in his movies is really quite interesting, as you know, in Django Unchained, the dinner scene. And yeah, so this film just carries on that effect. It's not like Django in the sense that it's a full-on adventure film. This is more of a mystery western film, because you're trying to figure out what these characters are up to, and because you can't really trust any of them. Then none of them are really good guys. They're all kind of bad guys, so I don't really know who to root for or anything. So the 8 lead characters are played by Samuel L. Jackson, Kurt Russell, Walter Goggins, Jennifer Jason Leigh, I think it's Demián Bichir or something, who plays the Mexican. You've got Tim Roth, Michael Madsen, and Bruce Dern. So a lot of those actors are Tarantino actors from Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction, and you know, you got Samuel L. Jackson, who's been in a lot of his films as well. So the movie goes for almost 3 hours. I didn't see the roadshow edition, so it didn't have the overture or the intermission, so it was just under 3 hours, I think. It was a very long movie, but it didn't seem like it was 3 hours long. There was a lot of violence and action towards the end of the film. I didn't think there was going to be that much, because I had heard it was just mainly a dialogue film. But it was very interesting. It kept me interested the whole way through. My only issue is probably that it was a bit slow in the first half of the film, kind of leading up to everyone being exposed and all the twists that take place at the end of the film. So there was a few slow scenes at the beginning, but that's really my only issue with the film. Other than that, I loved this movie. It was fantastic, and definitely one of the best films of last year. And this is probably now my second favourite Tarantino film, closely after Django Unchained, so I can't wait to get this on Blu-ray and see it again. So everyone does fantastic in their roles, especially Samuel L. Jackson and Kurt Russell as the 2 leads. Samuel L. Jackson, I've just come to see him playing himself in almost every role lately, but I think that he really embodies the character in this film, and he's really funny and menacing at times. And same with Kurt Russell. Everyone's kind of funny but got this menacing, evil, dark undertone to them. Also, the music in the film was done by legendary composer Ennio Morricone, who worked with Sergio Leone back in like the 60s and 70s on classic western films like The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. So it's cool to have him here doing music for an original western film again, so that was fantastic to hear. And it was such an original soundtrack. It's nothing like you hear in movies these days. It's just one of those really old 70s, 60s style soundtracks, so it was cool to hear that kind of music again. And glad that it got nominated for the Academy Award as well, so that'd be cool to see win. I'm really surprised that this film didn't actually get nominated for Best Picture and Best Writing, because yeah, I definitely think it was up there with the better films of the year like The Revenant and Mad Max Fury Road as well. The 70mm, as I said earlier, looked really good. You can see massive wide shots, so in the log cabin, you might think it's a bit restrictive, but you can actually see a lot of the characters in one shot at the same time, spread throughout the cabin, so you can kind of watch this film multiple times and watch different characters' reactions to certain sequences and scenes and things that are going on, which is interesting. And there's a lot of really cool twists and turns throughout the end of this film that I was really not expecting. I think the best way to go into this film is really not knowing anything, because the trailers don't spoil anything. It's just a group of people who meet out in the wild in this haberdashery, and a lot of stuff goes down towards the end of the film, a lot of violence and blood and gore, as we've come to expect in Tarantino films. It's actually quite brutal but funny at the same time, which is, you know, what we're used to seeing with like Django Unchained and everything. So it was good to see that kind of brutality and action back in a Tarantino film again. So I highly recommend The Hateful Eight, guys. Just be warned that it is very violent in certain scenes, and it is quite a long movie, but it's still a fantastic film. I highly enjoyed it the whole way through, and I'm going to give it a very high A. So thanks everyone for watching my review for the new Tarantino film, The Hateful Eight. Definitely go check it out if you're interested. Please subscribe to my channel and check out some of my previous reviews, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.